Black and brown creatives, understand me. L.O.S.T Creatives Podcast is here. I am looking for you. L.O.S.T Creatives Podcast. You trying to get it out there? DM me. I will shout out your work. I will drop links to your work. This is free. You don't have to give me a penny. I just want your time and your story, good brother. I just want your time and your story, good sister. We have our platform now. Let's get out there. This is what's up. This is what you need to do. I want your work to be out there, and I'm waiting on you. Tell me a story. Okay, welcome back, everybody, and all of y'all to the L.O.S.T Creatives Podcast. I am your host, Ijlal Abdullah Muhammad, and as always, we about to get into some things. So today I actually have as usual, a very special guest. This is very interesting for me and very fun for me because out of all of my wonderful guests that I greatly appreciate, shout out to Chef Jamila B, shout out to Sincerely Antoinette, shout out to KB the Visionary, shout out to Jamila Tompkins Bigelow. This guest today is my first male guest, the first brother that I have been able to get onto the show. I've been hitting up brothers all day long, and he's the first one to respond and follow through completely. So my very first male guest and my very first focused canvas painter. I have to be specific with that because KB the Visionary, she's very much a painter, but this good brother here is a focused canvas painter, okay? And our creators out there understand what I'm talking about. So let me go ahead and introduce this good brother. Joining us today is an interesting new talent in the art world with a very unique style that's beginning to capture attention. Please welcome an artist on the rise. Ladies and gentlemen, creatives everywhere, my good brothers, my good sisters, please clap it up for Echo Freaky is in the building remotely. Mr. Echo, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up? How are you, Muhammad?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I said, I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? This is the first time I got a brother on the show. I mean, shout out to my sisters. They always did. They always did a support first and everything. Shout out. I love y'all.
We can count on them, definitely.
We can count on them, man.
But yeah, man. Different. I don't know what's wrong with us. Proud to be your number one. Very excited.
Yo, for real, you should be proud, man. I'm proud that you are, for real. So I'm feeling great to answer your question. I'm so excited. I'm just happy to go ahead and get into this. How I found your work on Instagram. It was just in a search, as I'm trying to, I'm every day I'm DMing Black and brown creatives, sending them the same message I sent you. So I'm going through, jumping out things that just really stand out to me that I find like, wow, that's amazing. And I just was like, oh, okay, I never seen this before. That's what's up. I want you to get the opportunity to talk about it, so I don't want to go into it right now. I want you to go ahead and have that great. So yeah, man. By the way, I normally get this prior to, but I didn't. So I just let you go ahead. What city you in right now, man? Where you repping?
Right. Currently I am in Philadelphia.
Say word.
Yeah,
Philadelphia and PA. Oh, okay, that's what's up. I lived in Philadelphia. I lived in Philadelphia for 14 years.
Oh wow! So you definitely know about the streets here.
Yeah. I moved about 2 years ago.
Wow, where are you at now?
I'm back in New York now. I'm from New York, and I left New York to go to Philly, and then I was in Philly, doing my thing, and then came back home. But yeah, man, that's what's up. We all got our starting points, we all got our comeback points, take the 2 steps back, take the 5 step forward points. Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's what makes the L.O.S.T Creatives Podcast so great because, I'm really trying to holler at the Black and brown creatives who
and the title, bro, L.O.S.T Creatives. Okay.
Yes.
You're gonna hear my story a little bit now, and it's of course it's lost in there, and not only that, but L.O.S.T is an acronym itself for the stories we tell, and every piece I create has a story. So it's just like it's all connecting, which is also further into my piece. I'm all about interconnectedness. So everything is just resonating right now. I'm super excited. Was a little nervous, but I'm now more vibrating on a higher level. I'm feeling more like let's go. With that being said, my question for you is, what is focus canvas? Or you said I was a focus painter. I was like,
Oh, okay, my bad. I gave you a title that you didn't claim.
I like it though. I wasn't mad about it, but I mean, I was like, is that something I didn't know?
So for you know what, I don't necessarily know if that's a thing. I just said it now. What I meant by it is all of the artwork that I have seen that you post on Instagram, it's all on canvas.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
And it's just paint on canvas, right? Like KB the Visionary, who's very talented, a body painter. She's does a number of things. She's a hat designer, a body painter. She also does paint on canvas. She also does paint on canvas. She's actually had things in galleries. But
I'm focused on the canvas.
Her focus is body paint. You dig? So that's mainly her painting focus. Is most of her painting, artwork, creativity is body paint.
It went over my head. I got it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So that's why I just said you're a focused canvas painter. Definitely. You could be doing a bunch of other stuff.
No, that's it. That you're right.
Okay. So I just want. That's why I wanted to draw that distinction, because she also KB the Visionary. She also paints on clothing. She paints on sneakers. She does a lot of stuff. So that's why I wanted to say focused canvas painted. Gotcha. You dig? But that's the beautiful part about telling your creative story from start to present, because who knows, man, maybe tomorrow you be painting on something else.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but I love the fact that you said that now you're vibing and you want to jump into it. As everybody knows, on the L.O.S.T Creative Podcast, I like for the creators to break up their creative story from start to present into 3 different chapters, because I love stories, and I'm the author of L.O.S.T, Lovers of Storytime, which is the very excellent short story compilation of 7 different short stories, mainly fantasy and fiction. So I love stories. So all the creatives want you to break down your creative journey from start to present, starting with chapter 1, which you so wonderfully worded, the birth of it all. Go ahead, Echo.
What a title. Basically I started that, or I named it that title, or called it that, because it happened around, I guess, birth, like 3 or 4, when we're all creating, when we're all picking up pencils and making messes with things. I decided to draw. I don't know if my parents prompted me to draw or not. I'm pretty sure they didn't. They're not really artistic in that sense. So I guess I must have did it myself. So I decided to draw my parents when I was like 4. And I drew them in boxes and circles, which is really geometric and graphic, but also like awesome. Like I don't know if anybody starts, because I don't know if you know either, but when we draw, we start with basic shapes and then we connect them and blend them out and make them smooth. And so as a child, I knew that already, which was kind of dope. But anyway, I drew them with boxes and circles, and just standing up next to each other's bodies on this lined paper. And what was funny was my mom was like, "Hey, this is me, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's you, Mom. Like, I can remember this part." And she's like, "But what is this? What is this?" And she's pointing at between her legs on a picture. And I'm like, Mom, that's your whatever I called men genitalia back then. And she was like, "Oh no, baby, we don't have these. Girls don't have these." And that's so like that itself, like I would never forget, like, because it shocked me. I think I used to take showers with my dad or something, so I'm always seeing him and then thinking my mom is the same. And anyway, and like I remember in that moment, okay, women don't have this, and I think we all realized, okay, like we learned that. They learn from me, I learn from them, and what they learn from me is that, oh, he's a creative. I mean, it's like that's a moment. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I left it or not, but it was a moment for us.
Mm.
So it started there, and from that point on, a pencil was my best friend. I taught myself cursive like 2 years before I even was learning. Like I always was ahead of the curve when it came to the pencil,
Wow.
and it's interesting. And I still write cursive to this day, even though it's kind of like dead. Um,
Yeah.
I, it's a beautiful script, so I still use it. And I taught myself. I mean, I remember my mom was so proud to show everyone, oh, he taught himself cursive, and I didn't think it was a big deal because I was just like, it's just words, I always
Mm.
knew it was something more to that. That was just something we had to do. So I was like, oh, well, let me get
Mm.
ahead. I had the book, so I was like, let me get ahead. It wasn't no artistic anything behind it. I was just trying to be a better student because in school, I would get my work done fast and start to draw and start to
Mm.
create. And then that became a problem. I don't know why that became a problem. I would literally be in the principal office sometimes because of it. And it got
Mm.
so bad that my art teacher would take me out of class in certain grades, because it happened a few times, would take me out of class and sit with me in art class in a corner somewhere and just have me draw all day, which was
Wow.
great. I ended up winning a couple contests in Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah, state contests. Like he had me doing things. He'd be like, "Oh, draw this black and white boys holding each other." Like he wouldn't tell me why. He would just be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Draw this, do this, do this," and he's over here submitting these things to competitions. And I ended up winning a couple in elementary school, like fifth
He was
grade. I
submitting.
think
He
I
was
won one.
submitting them, and you didn't even know.
I didn't even know. He would tell me if I won or not, and I won twice. First place
Oh,
for
nice.
sure, for sure. So one of them, my second one, I can't remember. That was my first one. I think it could have been first or second. I think they both were first. I gotta ask my mom. I really don't remember, but I definitely met the mayor. Like
Oh,
I
snap.
felt like somebody, and it was really funny because my second one, it was an artist there who I was already one of my friends basically, and he
Mm.
was an artist too. And we were young, and we both were there together. And she had won second place, and I thought she was better
Nice.
than me, and she did too. So it was an awkward. I don't think we had a good time because she was not happy. I can remember that too. And I was more like, I wasn't trying to throw it in her face, but I think that's when I realized, I was like, oh, you're upset. Like,
Mm.
why? But so anyways, that was basically my artistic journey a little bit in school. And what I would draw was something people love faces. People love, hey, draw me, draw me, draw me. That's something that I did and I don't do anymore, but I did at the time because people wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really what I wanted. So while I'm over here drawing faces on the side sometimes and cartoons for people, because I can imitate art easy. Like if I see it
Mm.
on a cartoon, especially if it was a cartoon, like that's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, give me that. Realism is another story. So I kept doing things for people, and I would not remember what or have time or even think about what I want to do. And I had to realize, go back to when I was younger again, and when I drew my parents, what did I do after that? Because it wasn't faces. And I used to develop characters. Like I used to create a man who could swim and fly and dig. As humans, I
Mm.
felt like we should like rule this earth. Like if we have dominion, well, per the Bible, per the Christian
I know
Bible,
what you're talking about.
if we have dominion over everything, why can't we swim? Like, why can't we live underwater or dig with our bare hands into the rocks or fly? I feel like as a child, we should have dominion over the earth and we should live anywhere. So I created characters that could do all that, like an avatar, but with physical elements opposed to like the regular elements. So he's kind of dope, actually. His name was Excel. And I used to just draw him swimming and flying and just doing random things. And that's when I started getting in trouble because he would get me in trouble. I had a book and I would flip through. And I think one day my aunt was like, draw me. And no, she was like, draw Tupac. Tupac had died. So this was
Okay.
definitely while he had just died. So that's why I did that. She was like, you should draw Tupac. And that's when it started. I drew Tupac and I'm sure it was hit. It was not nothing special. But they loved it. Everyone loved it. And of course, I loved the praise of it. And from that moment, Excel got pushed to the side. And it was all about creating faces for people for a long time. And it was fulfilling, but it really wasn't enough.
Mm.
And I would make waves, I would make moves. I was a caricature. I could do any type of portrait, realism, funny, goofy, make your cards, whatever you wanted, I could do. And people wanted crazy things, people are elaborate. And that was fun. And I did that through a little bit of high school, not much in high school. Mainly when I was before high school, and then when I graduated high school, I did like little art in high school. High school was a blur. It was not a good time at all. I was figuring out who I was, and it was no time for art at all, because art is really who you are, and that's what I feel now. And at the time, I was just completely lost. So and then I graduated, and I said I'm just gonna work, get a working job, blue collar job, and work. And well, actually, excuse me, that's how much I hated. That's how much I hated high school, that I forgot that I actually did go to college, which was a horrible experience. I went to
Wow.
AI of Philadelphia.
Art Institute.
Yes, which is now they're canceled, or like they're being sued, which I need to jump on and get my money back to, because it was
Oh
a
wow.
horrible experience. So I graduated in '06 from high school, and I immediately went to AI in that September. And I think I stayed till the '08 or '07. I stayed about a year and a half. It was a crazy experience, very crazy, intense experience. And it wasn't my first art school. So when I was younger and I won a couple of awards, I would also win like little scholarship programs with like the Baum School of Art, which I was in Lehigh Valley at the time, in Allentown. So they had a Baum School of Art, which is really big out there. I won a few courses there where I would go as a student, and other teachers would teach me techniques and things I don't know. And so that happened a couple of times in the Poconos, that happened, as well as in Allentown. So
Mm.
it wasn't my first time in it, like instructional type of environment with artists, which is really weird, because now I know you really can't teach art. So that's why I always had problems with learning art. So like when I would go to the Baum School of Art when I was like 13, I think I was, maybe, a couple girls made it with me, and I didn't really appreciate their style art. I didn't think they were that. I don't want to judge anyone. I really don't. But they didn't take it serious enough for me.
Gotcha.
It was just like, here too, I didn't take it serious. I'm like, oh, y'all made it here. This is not. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. So either way, me and the teachers got along great, and we always had great relationships. So I guess maybe they saw the heart in me, and I was always a little different. Like, I didn't want to draw things as they were completely, and it was mainly because I didn't know how. It really takes technique to do realism. Like, there are rules. Like, there are things that have to be done, or there are things are done a certain way to make things look a certain way. There are tricks. There are hacks to realism, to create something that you don't really see. So they would teach me those things, which was great, and I would be like, oh, well, that's why I couldn't do this, or that's why this doesn't look like this. And I'm drawing faces at the time, so it does behoove me to take this advice. But it was always like it was always a tuggle, like a pull. So with all this being said, with my title of birth, bringing back to that, it all started when I was 3 or 4 with creating my mom and dad, and then later on it kind of was just up and down, which is bringing me into the next situation, or the next chapter of the journey.
Okay, all right. Well, that's what's up. So before we transition to chapter 2, there were some things you said. And by the way, whenever you see me look down, and I'm not, checking my phone for DMs or anything, I'm writing down things that you either said, or I'm writing down things I want to ask, because I try not to interrupt too much, especially when you're on a roll.
I feel like I'm rambling.
No, that's the great thing. Like, it wasn't rambling. Okay, let's put it this way. If it was rambling, it was great. So I love it. I don't think it was rambling. It seemed like everything was synced to me. But
awesome.
So you mentioned, you were drawing like, shapes, like, when you were a little kid, and I try to I think about like my son. He's 5. and everything is just scribble. Scribble, 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 scribble. Big scribbles or small scribbles, scribble, scribble, scribble. It's just like, and it's so, a child's mind. We're okay. So we're creatives now, right? And whatever age we're at, and then years down the line, we would have become better creatives than we were now. As far as just experiencing the world and everything, and that coming through in our art. But at the same time, I don't think we can ever get the creativity that we had as a child. The way our minds worked then is just, we'll never get that back, even though we didn't have the skills per se,
Yes.
to convey it. But I mean, like I was saying about him, he just draws these scribbles, right? And then he comes and shows me, and he says, "Now check it out." He's telling me what these scribbles are. I just send him a scribble like, oh, see, this is the dinosaur, and that's his head, and that's his tail. And now I'm thinking he's just saying this, right? Okay, all right, that's his head. Oh, this is looking really good, whatever. So he'll say something like, "Okay, I need you to cut it for me," and I'm like, "Cut what?" "Cut the dinosaur." I'm like, "Oh snap!" I'm like, show me where you want me to cut, right? So I'm cutting. He's like, "No, that's his tail."
Oh man.
And I'm realizing that, oh snap, he didn't just say that was the tail. This scribble is the tail, and he knows exactly where it is. It's like wow, that's what you see. And I wish there was a way, even now, especially now, I wish there was a way we could tap back into that as creators. It's something special.
Yes,
you mentioned something that I wanted. I loved the idea of it. A friend of mine's, shout out to Gabriel if you're listening to this, Gabriel from Elmont in New York. You know who I'm talking about. He did it, and you mentioned it. I didn't have a desire to develop it, even though I wanted to. It's weird. You mentioned a character, Excel. First of all, I love that, especially at a young age. That's something else.
Thank you.
When a child keeps up with something, that's significant. For a child to keep up with, first of all, to create a character, build a world around this character, and keep up with it for a little bit. Because I know me, my brain was everywhere. I'm on it right now, I'm on to the next thing later. To keep up with the character and draw it out and develop, like that's I find that to be very, very special. Did you ever go back to him? Did you ever do you still have those drawings? I love to ask those questions, because it's like, I said this. Who did I say this to? Did I say this to? I think I said this to Sincerely Antoinette. My daughter was getting ready to throw out her old sketchbook, and I caught her. I said, "What are you doing with those?" "Oh, I'm throwing this out. They're all the pages used up." And I'm like, "Listen, let me tell you something. I wish my parents told me. Don't throw out your old sketches. This is a world. This is a world of stuff." Now you may say, "But I draw better than that now." That has nothing to do with it. Because I found something I had did 10 years ago. It was a doodle, and I was like, "This is dope. Let me see what I can do with it now." You know what I'm saying? Especially at those moments where, like, you may bump into a dry spell or something. So, do you still have any Excel? Is he around anywhere?
He would be, and actually, he may be recreated just to hang up somewhere. But I'm gonna be completely honest. My mom, if she ever gets to hear this, she will be mortified. But it is what it is. So I used to draw, and I used to get my work done first. I was always a B student. Wasn't an A student. I could have been, but I was too much energy into that stuff that I didn't care about. But I'm gonna do it just enough that I'm better than most, but I'm not the smartest. So, but that would irk everybody. So it really got so bad. All I would do is draw Excel and other things. My mom. So punishment, she wasn't like, we got beat as kids, but beating never worked on me. I'm kind of solid. Like that doesn't
Mm,
work. I'll eat it and keep drawing. So
mm.
my mom is the reason why I have nothing. She would like to taunt me and punish me. She would. I can't even say it because I don't want to make her. Oh, she
I
would.
get it.
She
I
would.
get it.
Look at me. She would
Yeah. I get it. That's oh well.
hide in there. You know, she would, and
Yeah.
it would be a spectacle. It would be, oh, I'm taking
Mm,
this and this and this and this. Like you knew how to hurt me.
mm.
Honestly, so but she had no other choice. There was no other way to get through to me. I was a wall, you know. And I I crossed my T's and dot my I's. So it was like you couldn't get mad at me because my room was clean, my grades were good. Just let me draw. But I don't understand. I can't remember why that was a problem. I must have been so detached, but I don't know why that was offensive. But anyway, yeah, I would love to have old pieces. But I know what he looks like. I know
Okay.
who he is. You know, I can definitely
So
recreate him.
you can recreate it. All right, that's what's up. You know, interesting what you just said. Like you know, grades was good. You know, this, that, and the third. So you're not sure why. I remember uh, the wonderful Jamila Tompkins Bigelow, the author. When I was had her on the show, we got into kids and parents, and as it relates to their, you know, how to do we just let them go and be free, or because that is just the best way to let a creative mind run. But at the same time, you're a parent, you know, you know what things that can happen in the world, you know how far, you know what that road that your child is running down can lead. So you know you know, I know how distracted I could be. I wasn't like you. I wouldn't finish everything I was supposed to. So that wasn't
And
me at all.
immaculate. I can't even pronounce the word immaculately. Like it was.
Immaculately, yeah. I
I
can
would have
dig
to clean my chores, and my mom would be like, "Oh, let Camar do it. He's the best at it." It wasn't that I was the best. I didn't want to hear nothing after I was done.
I hear you. I mean, it's like you know, I know that I had to be pulled away a lot because when you're caught up in something, you're caught up in it, you know. And there may be other, so you may have, okay, I'm supposed to do XYZ, did it, leave me alone. All right, but the world doesn't stop now because you did XYZ. So, you know, now I don't, you know, I wasn't there, I don't know, maybe there was nothing and your mom's was just tripping, or maybe there was something else, but the testament to that, of I guess why you had to be pulled out of it, was you were so involved that you didn't even realize that there was maybe something else, you know. And one of the things about that is, it's like that, do we distract this creative mind, you know, or do we just leave it alone until it's done? And I can't, as a parent, as a creative, as a former kid, I can't really say what's the right answer.
It's tough.
I just can't, you know. I just can't. I know I
It's a tough
I do
call.
have to discipline, you know, as a parent, and but as a creative, I won't destroy your work because that's hard for me to do.
Whew. Yeah.
But I will definitely keep you from it for a time, you know, because I know that's what okay, all right, give me that. You can't do this now. Leave that alone. I'll tell you when you come back to it, you know, because it's like, if what's the use of the discipline if I'm gonna take something away from you and make you do something that you don't really care for? Then
yeah.
you know, it's not really serving a
exactly.
purpose, right? So it has to be something that means something to you,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
Definitely.
anyway,
it worked, and it worked every time.
it worked
But
every time.
to add both our detriment, you know, because they killed the artist eventually. And when you do that over and over, you kill the artist, you kill the creative, and then he got to rediscover it again. Man.
You got to rediscover it again. Well, look, I know. I for one definitely want to see Excel. I'm a fan of your work, and hearing about Excel, you got me super interested. And I mean, you know, I would love to, and then now we can see what Excel looks like with, Echo Freaky today. How
Oh yeah.
Echo does Excel today. That could be on some other next level. But I think it's a wonderful transition to chapter 2, a juxtaposition. Go ahead, man.
So, with this being said, and Excel, I made up the name too, XZALE. I thought it was so like cool, creating new words. I was like, everything with me has to start from scratch. So
I like, okay. Everything with me has to start from scratch. That's what's up. I like that.
It has to be from the soul. It has to be, and that's what cooking from scratch or homemade cooking, that's what my art is. And I'm realizing, talking to you now, like as a child and as a creative, and everything I ever did and presented that wasn't presented to me first and say, hey, do this, I was already on some, not new or different, but everything came from the beginning, and it was no other reference to me. Like, it was no other reference. I don't know how to, I couldn't stand references. Like, as an artist and growing up with artists having blocks, I've never had a block before. I've never been blocked. There's never been a block in my life. I've never, even, like, it's either I don't want to do it or I don't feel like doing it, but I know what to do. I have ideas. I have a Rolodex of creative stories that I would love to create, and it's more so, how deep do I want to get today, or do I want to be fun today, or do I want to do something didactic which is beautiful and educational, or like, it's always like, which title or topic do I want? I need to hone in on one topic really clearly, but blocks I never had, because I've always been I don't want to say a creative force, but just pure. And my art has always been more than me. So, with the juxtaposition chapter is me fighting myself, trying to work in a world, trying to be. So I was like, okay, I went to the AI. It was horrible. Each class was 4 hours. And I went to an art institute thinking I wouldn't have any prerequisite classes of like math or science or whatever that gibberish is. Like, I done did all that. I was so good in school that my last year and as a senior in high school, it was 2 classes, cooking and sewing, and then I would leave the day, because I finished all my classes way before, because I was ready to get out of the mess, the BS. So when I go to the art institute and they're like, oh, you gotta do math 101 or algebra 101 or something, and English this, and I was like, what? We did this. I chose this school full of art. I don't even believe you could teach me anything. I'm doing it for the credentials. I really don't think I'm gonna learn anything here. I'm just gonna go through it and pass it and get my little certificate, because that's what the Americans care about, is their certificate. So that's all I wanted to get. And I couldn't even get that, because every class was 4 hours. That's 4 hours of algebra 101, which I already been through, and I'm not doing it again. I don't care if I had to just get through it to get to where I need to be. It was just extremely fun. And most of these classes are like these classes, English and algebra. It was like, I had like a color theory, which was amazing. I learned so much in color theory. And I had another class that was somewhat artistic, but not really. And those were the real classes weren't happening until like a few semesters later. So I had a very rough time there. And they had no campus, they had no food, we had to work. And it's like, when do you work when 2 classes is 8 hours? When do you work? Where do you work? Like, like our grants aren't much. We don't have much money. People are getting tapped on the shoulder and getting kicked out of the school because their money's up. Like, so, you know what? I had a great dorm life. When I was there, the dorm was amazing. I had a couple cool teachers that taught me actual things that I would never forget. But it was a horrible experience. So I my last day there, I got into a fight, which is crazy because I don't fight. But my friend had got hit by some crazy Philadelphian in the head. His head was split open. And we lived on 13th and Chestnut, so we're like in the hype of it all. And he got hit right out there. And I remember him calling my name. I wasn't far. And I had just came out of my dorm, so I had like jeans on and nothing else. Like, no, I remember I had no socks, no shoes, no shirt. I guess I was going up. I don't know what I was doing. I just remember I had nothing on, and he got hit in the head. I found the guy, and whatever, we tussled and turned, we fought a little bit. And I just remember being so mad at everything at that moment. I was like, I'm leaving school. I don't want to draw. I don't want to create. I just want to leave
Mm.
this Philadelphia, go back to Allentown, the town where I graduated, and maybe fall in love and work, because this art thing is too much. High school, I couldn't do it because I couldn't figure out who I was. It wasn't like, I'm also very, very fast. My fastest 100 meters, 11 seconds. And that's one time. That's one time before.
Wow.
I felt like in high school, maybe I could be an athlete, but so it was just a lot of figuring out. And then when I went to AI, which is going back to art, like I said, let me go to art college, because that's the only, like, I'm not gonna be an athlete in college. That's not what it is. AI, and AI was the school to go to back then. It was the thing to do. So I wasn't wrong in being led in that direction, but they didn't teach me anything, and they deterred me from my art. And then once I left there in 2007 or 8, I worked, and any jobs. Well, not any job, but I was like call centers, any jobs that a person can get with a diploma and some college experience. Nothing really profession wise. And I was just gonna be happy doing that, and I'm somewhat for like 8 years, 10 years. Every now and again I would pick up something, but only to show off, because people will forget that I'm the artist or that I could draw. And when things would arise in life, I would go, oh, I could do that, or I could do it better. And so it became, in my 20s, I'm just showing off. I'm just drawing because people forgot. I need to remind them, or I can't remember exact reasons why, but it was always a reason why. And it wasn't like because my heart or my soul wanted to. It was because I was prompted to by something. So I had to remind people. And the crazy part is, my drawing got so much better. I had so many spells where I stopped. See, I didn't have blocks. I just didn't want to do it. I was like, what's the point? Because what's the point? So my teachers taught me great things, but for the most part, teaching art itself is kind of redundant, maybe I'm trying to say, because they say artists, we use, I think, our right side or something, or I'm not sure which side we use, but the artistic side and the analytical side are two different sides, right?
Yeah.
So it's always been in my soul. I've always felt these things, and I never could articulate them until I grew up. So I'm like, why are we going to school for art when you can't teach art? But I didn't know how to say that or really mean it. And so I always had a problem with learning art from anybody. And I love the person, but you're teaching me your stuff. I don't need to be taught how to draw anything. That's not. And I didn't realize that until I finally got up in my late 20s, to where I'm sick of people drawing. Instagram is out. All this. Everybody's a creative, and I'm just like, what? And then my friends are like, you should draw, because they know me, and they're like, you should draw. You should make an IG, and you should draw. And they broke me down. They ended up buying me supplies and everything, and it wasn't cheap. They were serious. So I love my friends for that. I definitely stay around people that are more about the insides than the outsides. So so they set me up, and it still wasn't a go. Like, I don't care if it's around me. I'm not doing it. I can't tell you what prompted me in my late 20s to draw something, but I know it was based off someone saying, not you can't do this, but it was like someone must have been drawing where they were getting a praise, and it came from something not good, and I ended up drawing something, which I had to make an Instagram for. Like, I had to do the whole shebang. I had to make an Instagram. I had to post it. I had to do all this for a specific reason, and I forgot why. And once it happened, then I was like kind of back in the groove. I was like, okay, I can start creating. I can start drawing. And in my late 20s, after working in so many call centers and collection agencies, and what else? Mainly those. I mean, I can sit here. I can sit here for 8 hours. That's what I'm used to doing. So when you ask me if I'm comfortable, I'm very. That's what I'm used to. But at a call center, mind you, I started drawing, and I was, gosh, so at the call center, I'm doing the same thing I do in school, which is finish my work and start drawing. And it became a problem in my job. And they couldn't fire me because my work was done.
So this is
And
just you. This
it's
is you in
just,
high school. This is you in life. This is just
I'm on
you.
the phone. How may I help you? Literally drawing, because this typing I can type. You know, I went to school with the computer, so I know how to type. So I can type real fast. I already typed what we said. Now I'm going back to drawing again, and I'm talking to you about something else, and I'm drawing this. And so it became a thing where everybody in their cubicle had a piece of mind.
Oh, nice.
Everybody in the cubicle had a caricature of me for $25, and it had to be at least like 20 people. And it would go like that from different call centers. I worked close to different. I would last at a call center 2 years, because it's anywhere I would last about 2 years, because I'm not meant to do certain things. Like, so 2 years, I'm somewhere else. I would be like fired for drawing, basically, or like I would find something else better. So basically, in a call center, I ended up drawing, and I made an Instagram and posted a picture there. And it wasn't like a whole bunch of hoopla, but I love the fact that I'm in it now. I'm with the new age. I'm on IG now. I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to camp outside of festivals and or do anything regards to a lot of people, because I'm also introverted, which is like something I didn't know was a thing until we grow up and we realize, oh, you know, I like people, but I don't really need to be around them. You know? So it ended
You
up
and me
being
both, man.
hey.
For real.
I ended up being a bedroom artist before I knew what it was. And so I love the comfort of it. Like, oh, I can talk to people and follow people. So basically, when I created Instagram, that's what really prompted me to get back into it. And I drew, you know, someone's kids, and they were beautiful pieces and pictures. Super proud of them. And it went from that to now just trying to get my name out there as another portrait artist. And that lasted for like 2 years before it wasn't going anywhere. And I made good money, like not enough to support myself, but enough to say I'm doing this, and like I can get, you know, I can draw somebody and get like $30 real quick, and it's nothing to me. It's like 30 minutes of my life. It's not that I'm quick. I'm really quick. So you know, but that it was like a game or a hustle that wasn't going anywhere. And I realized that too, but I felt it. Once again, I feel things that I can't really articulate yet. So, and then what happens is the feeling gets overwhelming to the point where I need to do what I'm supposed to be doing, or I can't do nothing. Or like, you know, I have to do the matrix and just keep working, but I can't do nothing creative because I should be doing something else. And and I never painted, by the way, until I was 30. I'm a painter now. I didn't start painting. I hated paint. It was messy. It required layers. So I was into color pencil. My friends got me color pencils, by the way. Prism color pencils is what they bought me to start drawing again. And color pencils and markers. My name is Camar. My first Instagram was Camarcus, which kind of plays into the whole. I love words. People love that who knew me. I changed it to Echo Freaky, of course, and they're still mad about it. But I'm like, I'm not using markers, and they're like, so what? But so marker color pencils were my favorite medium, my first medium. I love a pencil to this day still, because I still draw everything first. But I let go of the color pencils, and I let go of the markers and pick up a paintbrush. And only not picked up a paintbrush because someone paid me like $300, because they're like, oh look, if you can do this with pencil, you can do it with paint. And I'm like, no, I can't. Like they and it was a friend, it was a close friend, one of my best friends, and they wanted this elaborate portrait, 24 by 36 portrait of them. And I did it small already, but just not as elaborate. They wanted more things. So basically I bit my tongue and I did it, and it didn't work out at first, you know, but I don't know how, but it did. And he was right. Once I just got my mind wrapped around liquid, opposed to like drawing with like a crayon motion, and pastels. I love pastels as well. But somehow I wrapped my mind around it, because it's really just the same thing, just different tools. And a lot more patience, a lot more time, by the way. So I was like, eventually I had to trust the process. And I did it finally, and I was like 30, I think, like 30, 29, 31, around there. No, I was definitely 30, so yeah. So anyways, he loved it. He loved it so much, his mom wanted one. I ended up doing one for his mom as well. And when I looked at them pictures, I was like, oh, you can paint. Oh, you can. And this to me is where the real money's at. And I never want money from my art. I don't think I want fame from my art. I would rather my pieces be famous, not me. So that's why, going back to being called my actual name and my artistic name, Echo Freaky, yeah, definitely Echo, because that is my legacy. So, and that's what it made me feel like, when these people wanted these elaborate portraits, one was the mother was a tarot card reader, and the son was just a magical person himself. So they had me create these elaborate, like, zodiac type. It wasn't just a normal picture. They look magical and they look ethereal and celestial. So it made me, it took me to where I wanted to be in art, which is divine and spiritual. Like, I want to create the spirit, the human essence. Like, I don't want to do faces. I never did. Someone just told me to, and I was somewhat good at it, but it's not what I wanted. So, and this whole chapter of juxtaposition, I was fighting working as a blue collar person and being a creative and trying to draw certain things, but couldn't draw anything because it was no feeling, there was no soul, there was no life in it, because I was like, you shouldn't be doing this. If you're going to create something that you should be, but I couldn't figure out what it was. So I'm working. And so it was like back and forth, until finally I painted these pictures. And now I'm like, okay, I got to keep painting. So let me just paint everything. I just started painting all kinds of things, and just normal painting, like just normal, regular. If I did Bugs Bunny, I painted Bugs Bunny just like Bugs Bunny out of the scene. It was nothing different, just a big version. It was a painting. It was easy and it was fulfilling. And then eventually it got dead. And I'm like, it took about 2 years. I was like 32, 33. Yeah, like 32, 33 when this happened. And I'm like, this is not what I want to do either, even though it's beautiful work. It's not fulfilling me inside. And one day I saw a scary movie that was like some recent scary movie too that came out. And basically the artists, they were in art class, and the art teacher came and she was like, show me what you drew, students. It was like the first class of the year or whatever. And everybody presented their best work, and she just shredded it. She was like, oh, that's trash. That's horrible. And I'm like, yes, get them. Like, I agree with you. Who cares about a face? Who cares about an apple? Who cares about, I don't know any stories behind these pieces, but when I visually look at them, I'm just like, oh, that's an apple. And in today's time, we can take pictures of things. So realism to me it never intrigued me. It was like, I don't want to create something you can see. Why would I create something you can see when I create something you've never seen before? So when she said that, I was like, yes, but I didn't know what she was getting at. And basically, she made them rip up their best work, destroy it. And I've been there with my mother. So it was like, I'm really into this scene. And then she goes, close your eyes and count to 10 and think about like your soul, basically. Like, she was like, as I count down from 10 to 0, I want you to dig deep. And I'm a digger, I'm a deeper person, I'm a Cancer, I'm full of emotions. So this is nothing to me. I'm like, oh, let's go. Like, I'm gonna pause. As the movie's going, I'm watching it by myself, and I'm doing what she's saying, and I'm really doing it, and I need it, because this is what I need. So without me knowing, subconsciously I need this, I guess, and consciously, I need it in all aspects. So I'm just like, whatever this is, yes, let's go. So I dug deep into myself, and what I realized is I'm not sad or dark or anything. I'm happy. I'm pure love and light. And with that being said, I want to connect. Like, that's what I want to do as an artist. I want to connect, and I want to connect to all things and everything. So, and I had to go back to my childhood to get there. As she's counting down, that's when she's going to your childhood, to before everything changed you. And I was creating Excel. Why did I create Excel? Because I wanted humans to be able to do whatever they want. It was always about a purpose or a reason. So I was like, connect, but how do I show connect? How do I paint connect? How do I show how everything's connected? Like, so for another year, I was stuck, still not figuring it out, until one of my friends, again, you gotta love your friends. Your true friends will steer you right.
Shout out to the friends, man. Shout out to the true friends.
You know what? Shout out to what's his IG? I'm gonna say it actually. Can't, man.
Yeah, go ahead. Give it to him.
It's similar to mine. Cam. He just changed it. Oh man, shout out to Cam, man. If you ever see this, Cam the artist Cam. Oh, I can't think of your name right now. But either way, it was him that said, "Hey, you like doing dots a lot, like stippling and pointillism. Like somehow, in the midst of drawing things that I wasn't that everybody already seen, Hello Kitty and whatever was cool at the time. He was like, somehow you do dots or stippling, and he was like, there's something with that. And honestly, it was my lazy way of blending. Like if I did stippling, I didn't have to smooth out the lines. I use acrylic paint, by the way. Oil takes too long to
Mm-hmm.
dry, so acrylic is my love. But it dries too quick, so you can't really blend as much as you want. So I decided to blend with dots, which is not a new technique. It's like cross hatching, but with dots. It's like stippling or pointillism. But he was like, "You love that, and you should keep doing that." And when he said that, my soul heard it. It was like, "Rrr." I was like,
Excuse me.
grab his hand. Like, what do you mean? Like, when he said that, I like, so very scary. But I took one of my portraits I did, which I had a whole bunch laying around, and I began to take it apart with dots. Whew. And it was so scary. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? But I was like, just finish. And when I got done with it, it ended up looking very freaky. But it was expression, and it was showing you what I wanted to show everything, or what I wanted to show this whole time on my existence on Earth, is that everything is connected. And like by disconnecting everything, I connected everything. So at that moment, I realized, okay, now I have something. Now I have something, which will probably lead me into the last chapter.
Yo, let me tell you something. Like, this is why I love this show, why I love hosting the L.O.S.T Creatives podcast, because everybody's creative journey is the same but so different. We share so many similarities. Like for example, there's a common reality amongst the creatives that I interviewed, which is the importance of having good support, good friends around you to help push you. Every single one of the creators I spoke with all said that they appreciate the supports they had around them. They all had a time in which they weren't doing art, or at least weren't doing it the way they wanted to. So this is what I mean by our creative journey is the same, but it's so very different. And
Definitely.
I'm gonna tell you, man, like, it's art in itself how you came to where you're at now. That whole, what you said, the ripping apart and everything, like how it was just killing you inside to do it, and you were forcing yourself through it, and then it was like, oh snap, this is it. Like, that's it, and that's it right there. I mean, I that's amazing. Like, and that's what I love about it. I love, because sometimes I'm thinking to myself, like, do you realize how amazing what you just said is? Like, there's so far, every interview, there's been a point where I'm like, do you realize what you just expressed, what you just went through, how dope that is? Like, that's something that's not just whatever, it's like one of the things that I found really amazing about Sincerely Antoinette, who's a magnificent metal artist. She creates jewelry. And she said that whenever she gets an order, someone purchases one of her jewelry pieces, she goes to work. She starts making them. Now, these jewelry pieces they're totaling, anywhere from 100 to 450, sometimes more pieces. And she's just, shout out to Sincerely Antoinette. Sincerely Antoinette on Instagram, just like that, Sincerely Antoinette. And she told me that there's 300 of them are connectors. Now these connectors, they're generic, meaning she can use these connectors for other pieces that she makes. So she could easily just make these connectors and just have them sitting there until someone places an order. but she was just like, no, I don't want to do that. She said, granted, it takes this copper, so it takes a lot to clean it. You know, she don't have to go through the cleaning, but at the same time, that's not the real reason why she doesn't want to do it. She likes getting the order and then just doing it fresh from once it comes in. And I was just like, that's amazing. I'm like, are you aware of how much time you could be saving in your life if you just made the connections? The fact that, you know, and you know, just like you,
Labor
just like
love.
us, you know, she works a full-time job, and you know, it's just like you could be saving yourself so much time, but it means something to her. She's that much dedicated to her artistry, to her creativity.
Intention.
Yes.
Intention.
To be like, no, when I get it, then I'm gonna do it. So, you know, and each one of them had something that was just like, wow, like, do you understand the process that you're taking, how amazing that is? So it just never stops. And I'm always like excited to see what's the next person gonna say, you know. But what you explained, man, like I felt your pain as you were explaining to me, you know, you having, because it's like that, I don't know how you got through it, but you got through it just for you to be like, oh snap. It was like
a zombie.
And then you find your thing through that torture. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
that's
gosh.
So that's amazing. Let's go ahead, man. Let's just move straight into chapter 3. Echo Freaky. Boom.
Yes. So I'm just gonna depict this technique really quick because it's layers upon layers. I'm so proud. I could cry thinking about it because I'm vibrating, literally goosebumps on my legs. I would turn my phone around and show you. I've been vibrating a lot with goosebumps because it's my soul now that is really speaking, and my body is the conduit. You know, I'm just a spirit living a human experience, and now my soul is speaking, and it won't shut up. There's so many things that I want to do. I just want to quit my job and create, but I can't because I got to pay the bills. So with that being said, I took a portrait of someone and I started with, so all I do very simply is just play with colors a little bit, but I just kind of break them apart and push them back together. And I started with an eye. I started really small with an eye. So I did a portrait, and inside the eye is the eyeball. I took the eyeball apart. And then, although it looks cool, it was kind of like, well, it looked cool. That part looked cool. But then when I kept going, it began looking really crazy and freaky. So I was like, you know, I wanted to stop, but I continued to do it. And when I finished it, everything was broken apart, and it was still freaky and beautiful though. You know, so it really depends. By the way, freaky depends on how you want to take it. I mean it in all aspects, every definition. Because I do freaky work in all aspects. So, but I'm echoing the color. Basically,
echoing the color. Okay.
And that's kind of like the I haven't coined a name for it yet. You know, basically when you look at my work, it's almost like you have astigmatism. So
yes,
I was gonna call it artitism. And that sounds great, but I love work. My art vibrates throughout my whole life, and it's wordplay is another way of mixing things up and putting it back together in another way.
You said that several times that you love words, and every time you say it, I like the name of the show, right? L.O.S.T, right? It's an acronym, right? Lovers of Storytime. I love acronyms. I love them. I love them. It's like I'm always, whenever I'm thinking of a title or something, or I'm like, ooh, how can I make that an acronym? Let's see. Oh man. I mean, I designed a shirt for Father's Day for my father. I'm forgetting the how I made an acronym out of the word father. Always,
Wow.
I wish I could remember what it is, but anyway, I'm always thinking of an acronym. It's just I just think it's so creative. Just how you can take a word and then make words out of that. You know, so when, like I said, like when you said that how you just love words and how you always try to, I immediately relate. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're definitely kindred spirits on that aspect. A few aspects, man. So I knew it looked freaky, and I wasn't happy with it because I like it. But how am I going to translate this to everyone else? You know, so I had to really define what am I doing. And basically what I'm doing is echoing color. So back to the birth of creation, birth of it all, back to that, I called it birth because I had to go back to being a child and why I created everything. and why I created anything, and then why was everything created, and how was everything created. So then it's like sound and color is the reason everything exists. If God, the creator, the consciousness, the collective consciousness of God, whatever, I'm sure he's a big thing. He's sound and color. That's what it is. And I can't really paint sound, or can I? I was like, what? With me creating these gods, I know what I'm trying to say, and I know what it looks like. It looks freaky. It looks not. It looks ugly, somewhat. So I was like, what am I doing? Because that's going to be the catch to get people to understand this work, this weird work that I love, even though I know people won't love. So I gotta explain what I'm doing. So I had to go back to being a child again, and then why I want to create. And why I want to create, because I'm a creator and I come from the creator. And how did the creator create everything? With color and sound. Sound and color is everything. And everything vibrates. Everything is alive. Everything moves. We learn this in science, so that's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm depicting. So I decided to break apart color, because everything basically is bonded with color.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just breaking apart the color, and basically I'm echoing the subjects. So every color, everything is an echo, which is a vibration, So it's echo freaky, because I'm echoing whatever I'm painting is just an echo of the subject that I painted or that I drew. I painted the echo version of it, and it came out looking freaky. So that's the name, and it's just a fun name for now until I figure out more technical, scientific name, I guess. But that is what I want to show in the world. That's what I want to do. I want to show that everything is alive, whether it's this pillow or this wall or a dog. Everything is a part of a cell. It has an electronic charge. And it's either moving really slow or fast, really, really fast. But everything is a particle. Everything collides. We're not really touching nothing. We're touching electricity. We're touching energy. So how can I depict that? I'm doing it now. I'm depicting it now. And by continuing this, I realized that everything that I interact with in my life is echo freaky. Like my art is my philosophy, how I deal with people and interact with people. Everything is exchange. And that's what my art is. I'm exchanging the colors in and out, back and forth, as if I'm doing a sewing, knitting type of technique, but with drops of paint. And I get rid of details, because details don't matter. I dumb things down to their most basic shapes and colors, and then I work off that, opposed to actually drawing cheekbones and eyeballs and highlights and shadows and dimension. I do show dimension, definitely show dimension in my work, but the details, I show dimension with the subject opposed to the subjects being detailed. Like I'm not detailing the subject itself, I'm showing the layers of it, because it's like impressionism, pointillism, stippling. It's so many techniques. It's a flat technique, because those evoke the most emotion. When there's no space, it's just a color.
Yeah.
You're just looking at it, So finally I have my voice, and I have somewhat of a title for it. So now I can't shut up. I've been doing this now for 3 years now.
3 years, okay.
It's no slow. I'm 37, so I coined Echo Freaky like when I was like 34. And at first I was doing realism, like still doing portraits, but breaking them up. Until one day I'm stressing myself out with making these people look like themselves when they don't even know themselves, or they don't even, like, who says your face is your face? Can you give me a portrait without drawing a face? That's what my soul said. Can you show me a portrait without a face? And I was like, let me stop drawing faces. Let me just keep it basic. So this is a person. That's all you need to know. It could be you, or it could be someone else. So I lost myself in my technique, and doing that, found myself again, and I've never stopped vibrating since. And that's all I paint now is vibration. So like it's complete, and I feel like I didn't hit the cusp of anything, but I'm just elated and excited to finally have a voice, my own voice, and I just want to scream all day, every day.
Yo, good brother. Let me tell you something, man. You don't just have a voice, you have a style, you have a signature. Man,
Thank you.
you have
Thank you.
a perspective. You I am so glad I got this chance to speak with you. When I saw your work, now I understand why it looks the way it does. By hearing you, I'm being drawn into you explaining this, just as I was drawn into your work.
Wow.
Normally,
Thank you.
I see work and I just want to hear people explain it, talk about it, right? And this thing that's still, and as much as I love to hear the creative journey, I'm still, your creative work is still up here. Your journey is great and I want it, but I still hold your creative work at a different level, higher level. With you, it's the same. They're at the same peak. It's just like I was intrigued by it, and then when you explained it, I'm like, oh man, yo, you clearly are a very smart brother. I mean,
thank you so much.
I can tell that just by listening to you speak, and then listening to how you do things. One of the things about a creative mind, man, nothing like it.
Right.
There's nothing like it, man. And not one of them are the same. They're all different. And it's just a beautiful, I can never do what you do, and I don't want to do what you do. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing.
Yeah,
I'm not, that would be like me trying to sound like you. It's just like, no, this is how he sounds and this is how I sound. But I love it. I love what you do.
Thank you so
And
much.
listening to how it comes to you, I think that's just one of the greatest things as creatives, how stuff comes to us, how we understand, our receptors, you know what I'm saying, how we take it in. That's what makes us creatives. That's what makes us different than everybody else. We take this world in, we breathe it in differently. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We see it differently, we touch it differently, we taste it differently.
Yes,
Everything about it is just, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, it's a beautiful thing when you realize how you connect with something, You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And if we're lucky, we get to show that and share it to the world, how we connected with a thing, and hopefully people enjoy it, right? But I mean, like wow. And just like we started, I mean, when I asked you for the chapters, you just said, okay, well, the birth of it all. I was like, oh, okay, simple. Hey, juxtaposition, chapter 2. I go for each other. It was simple, hard to the point, but it spoke volumes, man.
Oh, thank you.
Right?
So much.
I think it was
definitely.
Who was it? I think it was Leonardo da Vinci. He said simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. That's what he said. And brother, you embodied that. I mean, it's just real. Like, it was very simple, but it was so involved. Your journey was very simple, but it was so involved. It was heavy, and like, if you was listening, you got it, man. I'm really thankful that I was able to hear it. This is what's up, and this is why I want to do this. Number of reasons, but this is another one of those reasons. Man, our journeys are so dope. And as creatives,
listening to me, this is awesome, bro. Thank you, because
man,
they only get to hear this, and they're like, "Shut up."
Man, look, the creatives need to hear this because it charges us. It charges us. It keeps us going. Like, you said you found,
charges. Everything comes back to it. It's charges.
You said you found your signature 3 years ago. I've been on
30 years.
It took me 40.
Oh man.
Me 40, and I'm an author now. I've been I've drawn, I've painted, blah 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 blah, and I've loved all of it. I still do love painting. I can't,
Definitely.
but the passion, the oh man, these ideas just come to me so easily, and I love it, and I want to keep doing it, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm sleeping about it, and I'm eating about it, you know.
Yes.
Like Lords of the Underground, they don't understand how I feel about the funk. I walk with the funk, I talk with the funk, I eat with the funk, I sleep with the funk, I live off the funk, I die off the funk.
I'm posting
Man, that is a creative right there. It's like when we find our thing, oh, you can't turn us off. You can't turn us off, man.
I quit
and
my
it's just
job, and listen, bro, I'm living it because I make nothing now, pennies, because they let me draw all day and paint all day at work. Kamar, you're not painting today? If I don't paint, what's wrong with you? I'm concierge at the front desk now, where I just call at an old folks home basically and say, hey, your grandson's here. Hey, your aid's coming up, and I hang up the phone. Oh, hey, you got a package. That's it. And I'm so happy because when I'm not doing that, I'm painting on the clock. On the clock,
man.
Because that's all I need. That's all. I am the funk. There's nothing else.
Yo, man, it's a beautiful thing, and I just love it. And you gave it good, man. You really did. Let me go ahead and ask you. Before I get into the generic creative questions, I want to ask you this. Even in Doom, Black Still Blooms. That's the first one I saw that caught my eye. That's the first one I saw, and I was just like, oh man, this is amazing. I already expressed how much I was loving it, but anyway, By Any Means Necessary is my favorite.
Okay, thank you.
I love that one. I just because I love Malcolm, and that picture is such an iconic picture, and then when you throw your Echo Freaky thing on it, it instantly becomes my favorite, right?
Exactly.
But Beetle Guys, to me, I think it was the most creative one. So By Any Means Necessary was my favorite, but I think the one that was the most creative, I mean, it had so much going on for me, was Beetle Guys. With all that being said, yes. With all that being said,
yes.
Tell me what's your favorite one? What's your favorite piece, and then what's your most creative piece?
Absolutely, my favorite piece is I keep going with different titles, but I think I call it Creation. So basically, it's the universe. So basically, it's a play on Da Vinci or Michelangelo or whoever painted the Sistine Chapel, which is creation. It's called the creation of Adam, I believe. So basically, it's the fingers touching God, the creator, okay, and then creating and touching Adam, and then everybody else around, angels, and I'm simple, so I'm not gonna do all that extra stuff. I'm just gonna do the point, which is the fingers. So I lie in all aspects. I'm not gonna get into how much, but that's not correct. So let me paint what's correct, which is the universe is more, and you can define that how you want, but the universe basically came down to us and created us. So that is, and
I'm looking at it right now.
Once I feel as though we get that mind frame as a people, and also created a darker skinned person, which is very important.
Yes.
Which is very important. So the universe came down and created a brown man and named him Adam or Adamu, which is another title. I go through my titles a lot because I'm like, I learn new things all the time, and I'm like, oh, well, this can be this. But anyway, that would be my essence, my baby, my soul, my legacy, my number one.
Okay.
Because that story has been murdered and changed, and whatever created us, it started with us, and it came from up there. So that is,
I concur.
That's and everything is connected. So that's my legacy. I went to your page again because I wanted to see which one was your favorite. Yeah, it's great.
And now I'm just
Thank you.
scrolling through the rest of the stuff because I got caught up again. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's my topics change, so I like to be fun and playful because I'm a loving
Yeah,
soul by the end
man.
of the day. But I'm also living in this world, and I cannot shun my eyes to what I see.
No.
So,
And as a creative, I did an episode on this. As a creative, I feel that it is our responsibility to not shun our eyes to what we see, what we hear, because there's a lot going on, and we have the ability to recreate it in another way for others to see. If they can't get, or for whatever, or if they're not paying attention to a lot of the crap that's happening, or maybe our creativity can force that attention, or a lot of the good that's happening.
Or
It's just
all that.
so it's just a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, good brother. So I want to get into the segment now where I ask the generic creative questions that I ask all creative. So
let me give you my creative one. there's so I guess my favorite piece for sure is the one I mentioned. The most creative one is called Freaknik. That's only because that's like 1,000 dots and stipple endpoints, and to me that's the most artistic one level. That's basically two guys and a woman. It's rape culture, really. It's the story behind that. It's Freaknik based off the 1990s HBCU picnic that got canceled in the 2000s because women were getting raped. So I did it in a fun, lighthearted way. So you look at it and you're like, oh, that's a banana and eggplant and peach on a picnic cloth in the grass. Hopefully you get that part too. But basically that is what I'm depicting. And when it comes to my creative, anything that has layers, like when you see it.
With explanation, I think that this is the one I find the most creative. But that's only due to explanation. Not visually.
I gotta explain better.
No, you don't. No, you don't have to explain better. I'm just saying. With explanation, now because you explained it. Now my vision is tainted. So now I see what you intended. You dig? And now I see why you say that's your most creative piece, and I agree. But that's only due to explanation. On just first glance, I saw something else as being there was something more the most creative out of your work to me, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like your artwork is going to speak differently to different people. And certain things are going to stand out. Like even with the color itself, with Betelgeuse, I still find more creative. But I care for those colors more. That's all that means.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those colors draw me. Yes. You know what I'm saying? But through explanation, this is a dope piece, man.
Thank you. Everything has a little story or intention. Even when I'm doing playful stuff, because what I'm saying behind everything is that everything is everything. We're everything. We're connected to everything. We are everything, and there's no difference than anybody and anything. We're not different than, and I mean inanimate objects. Like I try to respect all things because that is how we're gonna get into the golden age. Which is really what I'm here to do. I'm here to connect the people to show them that we all are the same. So like. Do my art. Hopefully that's the goal. No matter what I do, it's gonna be echo freaky because everything is connected to everything.
There it is. Enough said, man. So let me go ahead and ask you these questions here. First one, do you consider yourself a creative?
Absolutely.
I love asking this question. Everyone always gives the same answer. Absolutely. The same word. They give the same word. Absolutely. It's just great. It never gets old for me, but I like asking it. What is the most frustrating thing about being a creative? In particular, a painter.
Right. Eyes on you. Because we all create to show what we created, honestly. I do. I want people to see it. I want them to get it. So to me, my journey, or my hardest part, is getting more eyes, and how can I get people to understand, like you said, understand what I'm doing too. So that's my tackle.
That man, I'm with you right there. It's just like, look, obviously I want to be able to dedicate myself to, creative work. I want that to be my primary income where I don't have to worry about doing anything else.
Mhm.
But that's not why. I do this because I write because I want people to read my stuff. I want them. I did this. I created this. Look at it. Like I was saying to KB the Visionary. Love it, hate it. I don't care, but get involved. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Get
yes,
involved.
yes, get
Dedicate yourself
involved.
to it because I did
Yes.
this and I think it's so great. And I don't care if you like it or not, but I just want to give it out there and I want you to. So I agree with you 100% right there. That is very frustrating to me. I want people to see this.
Yes.
How often do you? Oh well, no, you already answered that question, so that was great. I don't need to ask that one. As a creative, if you had time, what art form would you like to get into and become good at, or dedicate a real focus to?
Wow.
Like I always wanted to be a tap dancer.
No, there's nothing else. My last breath, I will be echo freaky and happily. There's only on a grander scale. So only thing I want to do more is maybe reproduce on a different medium or murals. There's to me, I feel as though that's why I said
Huh.
I haven't hit my cusp, but there's so many aspects to this thing. No matter what I do, is going to be echo freaky, and that by doing that to it is enough. It's enough. I can do different mediums, yes, but I'm always gonna echo freaky everything because that's what I'm here to do, and no, we can't get it enough. We can't get it enough. I can't get it enough. We need to
Huh.
know that everything comes apart and goes back together into each other. So
That's
yeah,
the first. That's the first for me. Everyone always has something. Everyone has. Oh, I want to write. A lot of people say write. Or I want to do something. Wow, I like that. You said no, man. This
I
just
did it
this
all.
on a grander scale.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's up. I like that.
Thank
Yo,
you.
man, you on fire today, Echo, for real. Um, how does being a Black creative affect your work, or does being a Black creative affect your work and the promotion of it?
Don't make me cry. Ugh.
Sorry.
It's almost like, what's the point sometimes, because
Yeah.
sometimes I don't want to show myself. And because my work is not Black, it's not anything. Yes, I'm showing a lot of Black strife, but I would show that if I wasn't Black, because we're the most persecuted since I was a child. I knew we were the most persecuted. I used to tell my mom, the chosen people. I was like, Mom, that's us. That's
Mm,
us as a child. I know we're the most hated, but we're also the most loved and the most feared, because you look
mm.
at us and you fear us and love us at the same time. So it's super. If I was a white creative, I think I would be doing a lot better right now. I know I would be.
I agree.
And I have friends. I have friends of all races, of course. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's profoundly affected my work. It's profoundly, and I feel like even without drawing people, no matter what I do, I feel like it's also Black. Like it looks Black. I feel like my work looks really Black, which I adore. I love low key. I not high key. I love
Yeah.
my work. I think you know.
Yep.
So I
Like,
love that. I love that.
yeah, man.
But,
Like I said, when I'm going through certain things stand out to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I would love to interview. Love to interview this creative. That's what's up, man.
but
What
it's hard being Black
it's every day, good brother.
and getting the right
Every
eye. So,
day.
but we just go through like our ancestors. We just push through.
Yeah.
We're way better than they were. We have
Yeah.
way more. So of course I'm gonna push through. You push through when you couldn't push through. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
push through. But we at the bottom of the barrel trying to scrape up to the top.
Yeah. And like I said before, a lot of reasons as to why I did this. The main reason is for that, to give Black and brown creatives an opportunity to be able to tell their creative story, promote their work, free of charge and without it being,
Beautiful.
you know what I'm saying. So,
beautiful.
and I have nothing but high aspirations for this, and I think it'll definitely get there. And I really want a goal of mine. A goal of mine's is for FL Freaky to be opening up, at some major gala somewhere, and by now your paintings have been everywhere, in movies and at shows, whatever. Use a big thing, and for someone to ask, where did it really take off for you, and for you to be like, when I did that interview on the L.O.S.T Creatives podcast, and then it went viral and da 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 da. Not to big me up, but I want this to be what I want it to be. I want it to be able to help us get where we're trying to go.
And you
know what I'm saying? So like that would be great. That would be great, man.
This is this is a moment. This is a huge moment for me. So like, it's like my first interview, my first everything. It's truly my true self talking to you about. So like I said, my friends get it, but they don't get it. For you to get it, this is like the first conversation I ever had in my life. That's how insane.
I appreciate that, good brother.
You know that? So I'm very happy.
I mean, look, L.O.S.T Creatives, right?
Exactly. So much
L.O.S.T
lost we gotta
Creatives,
find, and we're finding it now because of you.
Man, because of us, good brother. Because of us. I can't just do this show by myself.
Okay.
Because of us. What are you the most thankful for as it relates to your creative journey?
My health. I have struggles really with. I don't have any health conditions, by the way. I'm fine. But because
good to hear.
Just to put that out there, I'm fine. But because it's so severe to me, my art, I feel like I really feel like I encapsulated what I was brought to this earth and what I chose to come here to do. I feel like I'm doing it, and no one has ever told me different. I've been waiting 30 years for this. And also, by the way, when I knew I couldn't figure out what it was that I needed to do in art, I prayed. And no matter what God you pray to, it's all the same one. They all hear it. So my prayers were answered with Echo Freaky. So this is it. I don't my health. So I try to take care of myself because I'm like, I gotta live so I can keep working. I want to paint until I'm like 100, to be honest, because I don't see myself stopping. I don't see myself slowing down. I really want to be an old man in a senior home, barely making it, still doing his little dots and until the end.
Doing his little dots.
That's the goal. That is the goal.
Okay, man. Lord willing, you'll get there.
Yes, that's so. I fear my health, which is funny, but it's like eat well, because I can literally just paint for days, bro. Not eat. I'll sleep eventually, but like I need to remember Camar. So be more sociable. Go out and hang out with people.
Okay. Okay, so the last segment, which I titled "Take It to the Gut," GUT. I told you I like my acronyms. Giving up the tangibles. That's what it stands for. Giving up the tangibles. So basically, this is where I ask you just 3 questions as it relates to resources. For creatives who see themselves in you, who want to get where you are, and they're just starting. So, what should creatives in your space do to get better? Creatives who are painters. What should they do to get better?
So also, when I'm older and still stippling in my hundreds, hopefully, I also want to be a consultant. I would love to talk to people, artists, about their journeys and somewhat what you're doing, but I want to critique. I do. I really want to be like, no, that's not right, but in the best way possible. Honestly, because I think I'm a teacher. I think I am a teacher. So basically, I'm trying to get your voice out. I want to do what that teacher did in that movie. Rip up your paper. I want to get your true voice. And once you start speaking, once you understand it, you don't need me no more. And
Mm.
so, I just stress people to go back to their inner child and redefine yourself as your inner child.
Mm.
Redefine everything as your inner child. And maybe you'll find what you were kind of meant to do with your creative, because God was a creator too. So, it's like, why did he do that?
Mm. Always simple and plain, Echo. Always simple and plain. What should they do to best promote their work themselves? What should they do to best promote their work, best promote themselves?
Everything. I spend more money on myself than my work and my artwork and marketing and Instagram ads, TikTok ads. Because I'm not a marketing person, but now we're forced to be videographers and all these things in social media, and I'm just a painter. I don't know how to take pictures.
Mm.
So I'm forced to learn. I'm forced to learn this. So, but that was a good commercial either. So any avenue, I'm doing everything. If I could buy it, I'm buying it. If I could promote it, I'm promoting it. Instagram, social media, galleries, which I don't really interact with the physical world too much because I should. I'm getting out there. I am getting out there. But everything, do everything. Why not? This is what you want. Like, why not put everything into it?
Okay, do everything. Excellent answer, man.
I mean,
and lastly, how do they get started with that? How do they get started with finding their signature as a painter? How do they get started with that?
Go back to your inner child once again, and listen to that child. It may be hard to do, but dig deep and keep going till there's nothing left.
Keep going until there's nothing left.
And in that space,
yeah,
that quiet, beautiful space, just you'll find it. And if you can't right away, I didn't find it right away. I didn't find it when I did it. I didn't find it, but I knew that I wanted to connect. I knew I wanted to connect, but a year or two later, then I started actually showing connectivity through light and somewhat sound. So patience is very important, of course, very patient. And but go to your childhood. I really think everything begins with the beginning.
So right? Yeah. Everything begins with the you are mastering this simplicity this evening. For real. This, you definitely found yourself, because you're not searching for anything as you're answering these questions, and then your answers are just so matter of fact. I know we criticize ourselves heavily, and we're not done, right? Mm-hmm. But I will say this much: if it's wrong to say, Echo, you are there. If it's wrong to say that, then I'll say, if you're not there, you are like seconds from being right there. You are well on your way. It's like, for real, man. This is magnificent. I want you to take the time now to give your handles or your social media handles, any emails you want people to have, best ways for people to get in contact with you, what you want people to go to as far as your work is concerned. Take this time to give that information. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So you can check me out on TikTok, Echo Freaky, Instagram, Echo Freaky, spelled like Echo Freaky, one word, or at Echo Freaky for all those social media handles, threads. And I don't have an email or a phone number to provide yet, because I'm strictly based on social media right now, where that's where I'm most comfortable. It's a lot of scammers and deceit out there. So for me to provide my email and such, I'm not as, I want to say, big or trusting enough to get there. But I do have an Echo Freaky email, and that's echofreaky56@gmail. And yeah, those will be my handles. Everything is Echo Freaky.
Okay. Every interview has something very special about it. Every single one. Every single one. Shout out to Chef Jamila B. She's a magnificent artist as a chef.
I can't wait to
She
watch
dropped
them.
a lot of entrepreneur, a lot of business gems in that interview.
Wow.
She's an excellent entrepreneur. I can't say that her food is just as good as her business, and it really is. But so it was a very professional, very business minded, understanding interview. Excellent for that. Sincerely Antoinette's interview. It was the right word. It was a fun interview. It was just fun. I loved everything she was saying. I love how she was saying it. I love what she opened up about. I don't have the right wording for it, but it was very connecting.
Thank you.
I don't know. I guess I don't feel bad in giving and naming this in a simplistic way, because that's how this has been, but it was a very understanding interview.
That's what I hope for in the whole.
Very understanding, man, and I loved every bit of it. Like, I really did. Like, you are most certainly, without a doubt, a creative in every aspect. You're a very, very smart brother. I see that in your work. I hear that in your conversation. I feel it in your journey. And I'm very glad to have met you.
Me too.
I'm very glad to have met you. This has been dope, man. Look,
this is like the first conversation. I've been waiting to talk. So I don't know why I was so nervous. I just spilled so much all over you.
Hey, look, that's what's up. I love it. I don't want you to be nervous, but I love when someone says I was so nervous, but I felt good with speaking, because then that makes me feel good that, okay, well, at least I was able to do that, because, man, this is what every creative that I had on the show before, and every creative that I will have on the show needed. This interview right here. And I'm saying that, right? Other creators may connect with all the other guests, and whatever, and that's great. I want you to connect with whoever you want to connect.
I'm gonna watch. Yeah, definitely. I need to.
Yeah. But I mean, this was. I loved every bit of it. I'm sure you're not going to, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Don't change, good brother. Your creativity is awesome. I love how you see things. I love how you understand things. I love how you receive things, and I love what you do with it. Once all of that has come to you, this has been fantastic. Once I go ahead, and do the edits and everything, I'm gonna go ahead and blast it. YouTube, on Spotify, and an Apple Podcast. Podcast.
Wow.
Echo Freaky. From one creative to another, I want to say thank you very much for spending this time, for taking out your time, for answering my DMs. You've been on it. You were excited about it. And I was excited about it. And I'm so glad we were able to make this happen. Before we conclude, is there anything that you want to say to the Echo Freaky fans out there, to the Echo Freaky, customers out there, to the Echo Freaky followers? Come on, talk to them.
I just want to say, Muhammad, thank you again.
You're welcome.
You who initiated the DM. I appreciate you, man. Beyond words, to me, this is like my first conversation I've ever had in my life. So I truly appreciate you. And for anybody that wants to check me out, please check me out, because I'm not in this for anything other than showing you that everything matters. So if you want to look at some artwork where everything matters, come check me out.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Look, good brother Echo Frankie, he was simplistic from the start. Man, he ended off that way. He stayed true to the bitter end, simplistic but heavy.
You took it out of
Heavy.
my head. Thank you. We're in
Simplistic but
sync.
heavy, man.
We're
And
in
that's what's
sync,
up.
bro. And that's
We
the
are
goal.
we could use so much more of that in this world. Simplicity with volume, man. And that's what it has been. That's what it has been. Thank you very much, Echo Freaky, once again. Thank you very much, everybody, and all of y'all, to all of you who are listening and tuning in. I appreciate it. Please continue to follow on Instagram at excuse me, the L.O.S.T Creatives. Please on YouTube at L.O.S.T Author. Know you are a creative, and tell me your story.